look up and pick out a number of computers there to see if they've installed correctly.
What building is that?
It's in the Jenkins Building, room 204. And then email me, even try tomorrow, and let me know, email me and tell me it's not working or not. Because guess what? When they talk about technology, what do I know? That if they tell me it's easy, no problem, I either know they're what? They're lying to me or they don't know what they're talking about. So they told me before that there's no problem, it's installed. I went today and guess what, Alex? It didn't work, right? So they could kind of, what did they do? They downloaded and nobody bothered to check. They didn't know how to run it, so they didn't check. So we need to check, recheck, and guess what? Do more checks, okay? So that's number one. Alex, you want to do me a favor? And you want to be up here today? And use this computer too? We can go back and forth. Yeah, you can bring yours if you want to. Bring your laptop as well, but then this way you can be mine. We'll have every week, we'll have assistente, right? An assistant for me. We'll have volunteers. Alex has so graciously volunteered. You see how well he volunteered? But he was. But Alex is, what's your major, Alex?
Finance and computer science.
He's finance and computer science. Did you hear that, Simon? So this is a person that we should get to know in class, right? Because what we're going to end up doing is basically in real life, we're going to be working in groups with people having different ways to do it. So Alex will do that. You know, it'd be interesting to see too is while I'm doing this, you can log into your Blackboard as well. On this machine, log into this Blackboard, and I'll set up my machine. So you can log in with your credentials. You can log in on, you know what, maybe instead log in on the, are we logged in as Mac or is it Windows? Reboot.
This is Mac.
This is Mac, so let's log in, reboot and log in on Windows. So that way we can download NinjaTrader as well. Okay. Let me make, as he's doing that, let me see if you see my laptop. Yes, no, maybe? Yes, you see my laptop. Everybody see my laptop? What? Okay. Okay. So just restart. You know what I'm saying? Restart it or switch to so you can switch operating systems.
Yeah, it says the device.
Yeah, well, or you know what? Call and say that you want the Windows on that machine. You did. I don't know.
You know which one?
What is this? Press here. It's actually signed, right? Okay, so what do I need to do first? I'm going to go to my email, and what do I need to do first? I'm going to go to my recording, so I'll start recording this, so we can get a way in which we can do this, okay? So loading. Okay, we're live broadcasting, we see that. And now what do I want to do? I want to go to YouTube, right? Let me see if we can go to YouTube. Okay. And then once we're on YouTube, let's see here. Okay, so I got my channel, I got my YouTube. Now I'm gonna go to Creator Studio. Now I'm gonna go to live streaming. And hopefully I'm gonna go to events. And from events, what should I do? It says BTE 210, software, operating systems, programming, open source, big data, and algo trading. So I'm going to start Hangouts on air. We'll see if this works. What else do we have then? So Jerry, what else did you learn from that article?
From the fintech one,
Mhm.
my laptop.
Hmm?
My laptop's out of like my page on it, but.
Okay, so Grant, what did we learn? Did you read that article, Grant?
Yeah.
So who can help me? What else, what other terms do we get? Jack?
Reg tech.
Reg Tech. Sounds good, huh? Matthew, what's Reg Tech?
Regulatory technology.
Okay, we got the key word, now we gotta figure out what the heck does that mean when you're gonna speak articulately to someone when you're gonna be interviewing? So what is that? Who can tell me?
It helps you basically just keep like the bureaucratic side of your business under control.
My what?
Like the bureaucratic side under control.
My computer.
Regulatory, so like watching over things and keeping
Okay,
track.
and basically what other word it goes with that? Yes, Katie, what other word goes with that? Reg Tech. Regulatory, and give me an example of regulatory.
It's like regulation.
Give me an example of regulation. Regulatory is like regulation, so we really need to be articulate. What is regulation? What? Okay, but what is in terms of industries, in terms of regulation? Who can tell me one regulation? Yes, Sam.
KYC,
KYC. What is KYC?
know your customer.
Know your customer, and what is that, what regulatory implication is that? When a bank, I come to you and I have a sack full, 3 sackfuls of money, I have $500 million I want to deposit, what's the regulatory compliance?
They have to like do their due diligence.
They have to do their due diligence, and what else do they have to do? If I go ahead and say, I have a friend Noah, and he just gave me $10 million I want to deposit, what do you as a bank have to do? What are you required to do? Brian, did you hear what I said? What did I say?
You said if someone puts money into your bank or someone.
Right, I have Simon wants to open up an account, and he said, I have this friend Noah, he gave me $10 million, here it is, and I want to deposit my bank. So Simon, and Ryan, you're the big businessman, you're gonna give consultation to Simon, he hired you, right? Help me out here, and what regulation does he have to adhere to? Okay, I don't know. Who knows? We all don't know. But what do we do, Sydney? If a bank, everybody understand, if a bank gets $10 million, did you understand the question, Nikki? Simon here opens up a bank. Noah is his friend, and then they come and he says, guess what, to the bank, I want to put $10 million here. He has a suitcase of $10 million. And then Shulin says, from China, I got some money too, I'll give you another $5 million. And Michelle says, I got another $5 million. What is the bank required to do? What are you looking at me for? What should you be doing?
Looking it up.
Okay. Yes, Matthew.
Is it the Patriot Act?
One of is the Patriot Act. Something else is called SARS. 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 So tell me. So call them.
What's that?
Check the internet connection in the bathroom. Yeah, try it. See if somebody knows.
What were we?
Where we're in 317.
Hey, where can you get some?
Somebody else. See somebody looking at us? Looks suspicious to me. That's what I said. I don't know what happened, man. They look pretty suspicious. Okay. So, what do we got? Everybody signed up? Okay.
That was one watching the class. Yeah. Hey.
Okay, so we started recording, so now, what do I want? What do we find out SARS? What did we see? Anybody find SARS? Did anybody find SARS?
Suspicious activity report.
Suspicious activity report. You should know SARS. Okay, anyone else? Suspicious, and what does that mean? Who told me suspicious? Raise your hand who told me suspicious. Was that you, Matthew? So what does it mean? And people will write it down in their notes.
Financial regulation, SARs, report made by financial institution about suspicious or potentially suspicious activity.
Okay, so what I have as a bank, Simon comes to me and says he wants to put in Noah's $10 million, and Shulene also has $5 million, and Michelle has another $10 million. What should I do as a bank? Well, first of all, I have to submit over $10,000. I have to submit filing to the government, U.S. government, saying this is $10,000. Go check it out. There used to be guys in Miami. Miami used to be really the money laundering capital of the world, and they used to have literally guys that were just kind of moving money across, and they knew it was like $10,000, and they used to be with suitcases with bills, you know, going from one bank to the other. So they tried to cut that down, and one of the things is that not only do you have to know your customer, but if there are large amounts putting in your account coming from Noah, he will get a suspicious activity report sent on him. So after there's a certain number of them, what will happen is all of a sudden the government will also follow up and say, where is this money coming from? So in order, what is Reg Tech then, is regulations, is that Simon then has to then fill out some forms, and those forms become what? Time consuming. And what would you want then is the computer to do all of those paperwork for you. Doesn't it make sense, Michelle? You can deal with your business rather than if you're the bank, head of the bank, that you won't have to bother filling out a lot of forms. You want to fill out forms? This is not what you went to school for. You know, I don't want to fill out forms. You don't want to fill out forms. You want the computer to do it. And what you can do is bring new business, or you can do more exciting projects, or you can think about ways to do marketing. What's your major, Michelle? What? Marketing. So you say, hey, let's do some social media. Let's do something for banks. Let's do something that's more exciting than filling out forms. So you can even tell them, let's do the Reg Tech. So that, Yasmin, that's what's going to be really big here. So in terms of we can do it. Okay, so I got my crew coming in, right? So I'll let you come in, my crew. So as my crew is working to get our computers done, that's what we mean by Reg Tech. What else? What other terms did we know, Sarah? What other terms did you find out in the FinTech article? You can look. You can look it up, even folks. What?
AI and blockchain.
AI stands for what?
Artificial intelligence.
Artificial intelligence. So what does that mean, and who cares? That's really what we want to ask all the time, right, Mike? Is who cares? And the idea here of AI is that I want then basically for my finance or for my FinTech is that constantly starts learning. that it will learn from looking at patterns. It will learn, for instance, to invest, to see what stocks to invest in, or where I should be investing my money, or in ways with blockchain. What did they say about blockchain, Sarah?
Well, that it could like be used in a lot of different ways, like in the government, like weapons tracking, digital voting, IDs, stuff like that, as well as in the health industry with medical records.
Okay. So basically, what blockchain is, everybody knows what data is, right?
Yes.
Databases, which we're going to cover tonight, is basically taking records or data together and making a file out of them. What blockchain is taking my data and creating a chain across what we call a peer-to-peer network. You can put it into your notes here, is a peer-to-peer network. Traditionally, data has been stored in one place, and people have access to get those resources. Blockchain, what it does is it eliminates the middleman. It eliminates and tries to make it efficient that I can pass my data and I can get my data securely along the chain. And I'll give you an example. Think about your health record. Where is your health record now stored? Where?
Servers in hospital.
In which hospital?
I don't know.
You don't know, right? So Brandon, if you go all of a sudden, where are you from, Brandon?
Chicago.
Chicago. You may have some of your health record in Chicago. You may have some of your health record in Miami. And if you go to California, you may have some of your health record. And if I go overseas, I have it again. Is that going to be duplicate? And you may say, hey, all of a sudden I'm going to be able that you, do you like any sports, Brandon?
Nope.
No. So do you do any exercise at all?
Nope.
No, do you walk?
Yeah.
So he walks. So when he walks, let's say he sprains an ankle. When he sprains an ankle, he goes to the hospital here. They go ahead and an x-ray and they say, you know what, I think you need surgery. And your parents say, you know what, come home and we'll see your ankle again. And what do? They take, basically, they want another x-ray. In this case, we don't need another x-ray. If it's held in the blockchain, he holds his data and then he can tell anyone else, you can get permission to see my data. So it becomes efficient. Okay, thanks anyway. It's not working. Okay, so, that was on the side. Okay, so let's do this. So that was the FinTech. You should have answered those questions and uploaded those. Now, part of your go to assignments now. It's okay. Thank you anyways for the goodwill. Okay, we're into assignments here, and you see you should have done the tech guide, software added. I'm going to add a new one for next week. Put it in your notes here. I'm going to add a new one of chapter 5, data. So we're going to go from the software, we're going to now go to chapter 5, the data. So what do I need to do in order to make it available to you? I need to go to edit test options. And in edit test options, I open the test in a new window. And what do I have to do? Yasmin, what do I have to do?
Click make available to students.
Click make available to students, because we're going to make it terms, and I'm the only one in the role. And in this case, we'll give 2 attempts, okay, rather than 1. So I'm not going to set a time right now. And so what do I need to do? Submit. And what do you guys need to do? What is your role? To see if it's available. Is it available to you? Yes? Allie is available? Perfect. Okay, so we got that available. The next thing we need to do, so we know already one homework assignment, and let's have a section here of homework assignments, is what? Chapter 5 data under assignments, right? So that quiz, chapter 5, that's one thing that's due. The other thing that we want to do, we want to do course documents. And under course documents, I want to go to PowerPoint. And you can download this too with me. Today I'm going to go over chapter TG2. TG stands for what? Tech Guide. You already know that, right? Life is easy when you know it. And then what else I want is I want chapter 5. I'll give you an introduction to chapter 5 as well, because it's important for us. So I'm going to open up the this PowerPoint, and we'll go over some of the questions that you may have and make sure that everybody understands what's happening. Okay, we have this one, and I also want chapter 5 as well. Okay, so I'm going to enable the editing here. And let's see what we need to do. Okay. So how we do with software. So last time we talked about hardware, right? And did anybody see anything about edge computing? Have anybody ever hear of that? Put a note for edge computing as well in your notes, and we'll talk about that. Okay. So, these are the learning objectives of software. We're going to go well beyond this, but we're going to try to make it to life. So some of the things that we're going to talk about are issues with software, how do we acquire software. We'll also talk about open source software and what's the difference between open source, and it looks like maybe the opposite is called closed source, or maybe it's called proprietary software. And then we'll talk about major types of software and an operating system and application software. So, we'll talk about computer programs and programming as well. So this is what we'll use for this chart. One little circle and a circle. So we know what hardware is, right? If I look at Yasmin, she has her laptop here. This is hardware, right? What runs the computer is what? What is an operating system then?
Software.
It's an operating system software. How do you pronounce your name? Anya? How do you?
Anna.
Anna. Oh, Anna. And I thought that was an I. And I thought, God, that's an interesting name. Anna. Okay, Anna. Okay. So Anna. So what is system software? Another term for system software is an operating system. Give me an example of an operating system that you know. Anna.
Just like OS, like Mac OS.
Mac OS. What else? Carmen, you have an idea? What else?
Operating systems.
A name of an operating system that you use.
Well, I don't use it, but Linux.
Linux is one. Linux is one. What else? Who else knows some more? So Katie, what else? What other operating systems do you know? So what's on your phone? Does your phone have an operating system?
Yes.
Everybody hear what I just said? Your phone. So what's the name of your operating system for your phone?
Android.
iOS, right? iOS is one. What other operating systems do we have? Microsoft what? Windows. Windows is another operating system. What's another one on a phone? If you don't have an Apple phone, what do you have? Android, right? So those are all operating systems, and you say, who cares? One of the things that we care about is we cannot use a computer or a computer device or an IoT unless it has an operating system that allows it to accept application software. So it's kind of like the underpinnings of my operating system. In an operating system then, Alex, one operating system that is open source is which one, Alex? Linux. It's called Linux, and you say, who cares? This operating system, when you hear open source, is how much does it cost? Free. Open source basically means that they have allowed the source code to be available to everyone to view and also many times to alter. For most of us, we have no business to alter that Linux open source because we don't know what to do with it. Right, Simon? That even if I gave you the code, you'd say, hey, I don't even know what to do with it. But if I'm in an environment where it's the world, maybe the world can then make special adjustments to it to make the software run better. So that's called Linux. And what I have here, as well as I have something called application software. Usually as an end user, which you are, you deal with the application software, not with the operating system as much. So the application, give me an example of an application software. Kristen, what's an example of an application software?
You might look it up real quick.
You even use it. Let's not even look it up. Just look at me, okay? Kristen, we're on a roll together. Let's take a deep breath and let's calm down. I know it's a little bit nervous, right? So let's think about it. Have you ever used what application do you use on that laptop? Do you ever, what do you use for that laptop? You bring to class, what?
Spotify.
Spotify. What else? What are you doing now? You're typing, you were just typing, and what were you using?
Safari.
Safari, what else? Have you ever used Word? Have you ever used Word, Kristen?
Yeah.
Yeah, have you ever used Excel? Yeah, those are all what? Application software. Any software that you're using, basically, that you actually are using it, they make it a fancy word, Kristen, and they want to confuse you, and these computer scientists want to get a lot of money, so they say, oh, it's application software, and then you say, oh, okay, you know, I don't. You know. It's just, you just didn't know the term that they use. So any software that you're going to be using is called an application software. If you ever use speech recognition, where you're basically talking and then you're going to get it to text, or text to speech, right? All of that is being used as voice recognition. Is all basically discrete versus continuous speech. That's all application software. So these you know. Have you ever used any type of presentation software, Kristen, that you're going to do in the class? You've used some kind of PowerPoint or some kind of presenting software. That's, guess what? Application software. That's all there is to it. And then data management. So all of these are application software. My problem here is it seems like so remote from us, doesn't it? It's like all these terms, Kristen, it's like, what do I need to know that for? So one of the things that I want to show you in many cases is what's the difference between source code, right? You need something to know about programming. You need to know, put this in your note, you need to know something about source code. And you say, Linux operating system has open source code, so that means that I or you or Simon or Noah or Yasmin can edit it and can correct it. The problem is that many of us don't even know how to read it, let alone how to correct it or add on to it. Everybody with me? So I'm going to show you, tonight we're going to go over source code in about 10 minutes, for about 10 minutes. And I'll show you that you know how to do it. At the end of 10 minutes, if somebody raises their hand, I want everyone to be able to raise their hand and they say, I understand source code. That's my challenge. Everybody with me? Take me up on that challenge. Jack has to leave early because he's not going to do that anymore, but he has to do it tonight, right? I'm not going to shame you or anything, Jack. But in this point here, I'm making it that his business fraternity is more important than my class. Can you imagine? Oh, but anyways, he's going to tell his business fraternity that they should come here and they should all watch the class, right, Jack? That's what they should be doing on the night, right? No milk drinking, no nothing. They should be watching the class. Okay. So anyways, I know what happens in those fraternities. Okay. So don't fool me. I may look naive, and I am. Okay, so let's go through this. Okay, so we got the technology. So what is my goal now? In the next 10 minutes is to do what?
Learn how source code.
Learn about source code. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do right now. We talked about FinTech, and Matthew was trying to tell me about FinTech, and the whole idea of FinTech is to get the computer to do things it does well. And we're going to be, basically my goal here is we're going to be working with the computer. And in the future, what I'm talking about the future is now, and in a couple of months, and in a couple of years, when you guys go out and get jobs, what they're going to be able to tell you is, guess what? Who's in finance? A lot of you, right? Who's in marketing? Right? A lot of you. Who's in accounting? Right? And other majors? Is they're going to tell you, guess what? A lot of the jobs are going to be done with the computer, and you got to figure out how you're going to fit in. Just the opposite. So, there's software that are platforms, and I'm talking about an application platform, Kristen, called, this is an example, it's called NinjaTrader. There are many out there. There's one that's popular that is called TradeStation. Have you heard of that, Alex? No. Okay, so maybe we'll invite some people in this class from TradeStation. They are located in Plantation. Anybody know where Plantation is? Broward County. They're located in Plantation. They have been bought out by the Japanese. The founders of TradeStation were guess what, Simon? Two graduates. And guess what they majored in? It was first software that would trade for humans. So what do you think they were? I'll give Simon to do the first guess. What do you think they majored in? Finance. Any other ideas? Computer science seems like the logical. Any other idea? Business tech. Sounds really great, right? Anybody play an instrument here? Anybody play music? Who plays music here? There were music majors. Funny, huh? So you think about it. So you can do a lot of things in anything. There were brothers that were majoring in music here. So this is a platform that the computer then has strategies, has algorithms. And what are algorithms? They're rules that you follow that basically buy and sell stocks, or buy and sells equities, or buys and sells. Who creates those strategies are human beings, and later on what happens is human beings create those strategies, and later on built-in AI. Who was telling me, Sarah, you were telling me about AI? What artificial intelligence will probably do is try to improve those algorithms. Everybody with me so far? So this is just one platform that we'll be using next week. And I like it for a couple of reasons. You can basically, I don't want you to open up bank accounts and start trading now with your algorithms. Because guess what? You'll be losing your money, your parents' money, and I'll be here alone, right? Or you'll be so rich that you won't have to come either, right? But we will have like simulation accounts here. So what I'm going to do right now, it says NinjaTrader, and it gives me demo accounts and so forth. I'm just going to skip it. And we'll see if it comes up. And basically, it comes up with a lot of tutorials. If you're interested and you're really going to get into finance and that whole area, is they have like YouTube channels and they have a lot of things, but I just want to show you. I'm going to close this for right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. This is the platform, and I want to connect to a data feed. Everybody hear what I say? I want to connect to a data feed. Usually, anybody hear of the term HFT? For trading? Yes. What is your name? Where's your name tag? You don't have one. Is that suffice? Is that good response here in this class? No. So take a sheet. Come up and take a sheet and make yourself a name tag. What is your name? Hassan. Okay. So make yourself a sheet. So in this case here, what's HFT? While you're making a name tag.
High frequency trading.
High frequency trading. What does that mean and who cares? High frequency trading. What does it sound like? Active trading, but high frequency means what?
A lot.
A lot, how fast? How many trades in a second?
A lot.
Thousands of trades in a second. When you blink your eye, it's already doing thousands of ones. And what they have in high frequency trading is it's so important. Their servers, right, their computers, because they're doing it so fast, they buy and they sell when we can almost blink our eyes. That's not what we're going to be doing in here, but you can see they have algorithms to do it. And these machines, the percentage of it's almost close to 90% of all equities are being now using algorithmic trading or computers buying and selling stocks. Amazing. So the idea of all my finance, if the computer's doing it, what are you going to be doing? If the computer's going to be taking over, so you say what yourself is that you're going to be writing the rules. So I need to connect to a data feed. So if I need to connect to a data feed, where should I go? In this case, Allie, where should I go? I need to connect. Connect. Look at this class. Okay, I need to connect. And right now, I can do a custom feed. I can do an external data feed. Or right now, I want something free. So where should I connect to?
One that says free.
The one that says free. And you know me, I'm cheap, right? I think they say frugal, or what do they say? There must be a nicer word. But anyways, it's going to be end of day. And in this case, I'm connecting, and you hear a little ring, and it says connecting for them. Once I connect, then I can connect, I can do futures, I can do a number of different ways to do it. But right now, what I'm going to show you is I'm going to go to new, and I'm going to create a chart. And in this case, what do? You can see here I can do a number of different, I can do NASDAQ, I can do New York Stock Exchange, Forex. Anybody know what Forex is? What's Forex, Mike? Foreign currencies. So I can do foreign currencies 24/7, right? It's almost open 7 days. So when in nighttime I can trade in China, I can do all of those. I can do the NASDAQ. I can do a number of ones. But right now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick a stock everybody knows. So let's pick a stock. So who wants to pick one? Something that we all know. So Jack, you're going to lead. So let's pick a stock.
Good.
What kind of computer do you have?
I have a Mac.
You have a Mac. What company is that?
Apple. We can do
Apple. So what's their symbol for Apple? AAPL. Okay. So all I'm going to do now, you can look at what I'm doing now, and you can see, I want to show you what? I have to show you source code. So I'm just going to do new. You see that? And in this case, I want to make, what type of data do I have? In this case, am I using then data? Am I using tick data? Am I using basically second data, minute data? Which one? I'm doing end of day, so it has to be what? End of day has to be what then? What should I pick? Day, right? Good. I pick day, and now I say, okay. And then it should be then, and in this case it says 1 minute. I need to change it to in this case, I need to change this to daily. Let's see if it's gonna work. Let's see if I'm gonna be loading my data. Make sure that it works, so I'm gonna do file, let me do it again, file, new, chart, AAPL, I'm gonna say new, right? I know that it says day, right? And I say okay, and now I have my data. Okay? And if I look at my data right here, right? How does, just looking at it, Jack, you're on a roll. Does Apple look like lately it's done well? Huh? No. A little bit it looks like it's what? Going up. So basically, this area right here, can I make money on that? Yes. Paul, how?
What was the question again? If
Do you see this trend here? What does this trend look like for Apple?
If you short it.
If I short it, and now everybody has to figure out what does it mean to short. Everybody knows what to buy is, right? I turn it, what do I want to do? I want to buy when it's low price, and I want to hopefully sell when it's high. What's short then, Paul?
Yeah, you're like selling shares that you don't own necessarily.
Okay, or let's even put it in easier terms. A short is I'm betting that it's going to go down. And if I'm right, what will I be? I'll make money. So just like I'm betting that it will be going down. So in this case, Allie, can you be so kind? Pass that on to him and make sure that he has a marker that I can see. Okay, we want to help each other. Okay.
For him,
Yes?
to put it with your name.
Didn't you see, Alec, that he had a weak son? We don't want anything weak. So, basically what we have to do is how the computer knows to buy and sell are based on algorithms and based on strategies. In NinjaTrader or in any platform, they have what they call built-in strategies that somebody wrote, simple strategies. You can write your own. You can buy your own. We're going to start off with simple, because we're not going to do complex if we don't understand simple. So I'm taking what I call a simple strategy, and my simple strategy is called sample MA crossover. I'm going to say new, and in this case, once I have my sample MA crossover, I want to enable it. So Turner, you're with me?
Yeah.
I want to enable it. What is the value of enabled right now?
Enable?
Help them out. What's the value of enabled right now?
False?
False. And what do you think I want to make it?
True?
True. So you already know in computer programming, I can have a value that's false, and if it's not false, it would be true. You got it? Now I want to apply it. And it says, although you have order confirmation enables, orders generated by a strategy will be submitted without confirmation. So what does that mean in plain English? It means, guess what? You set up a strategy, you hook it to the bank account, you say go, whatever the computer then has determined, it will execute for you. So you better have a good strategy, or else guess what? I can lose my own money, but with a computer, with a strategy, you can lose it a lot quicker. So starting with $1 million, I can lose it quickly. So I'm just going to say, okay, we're in simulation mode, so we don't have to worry about it. And I'm going to say, okay. Now, this right here is a simple moving average. The green line is a simple moving average. Notice when they cross, there's like a symbol. This one says buy. When up there, when it says the pink one, it's going down, what does it say on the very top there, Simon?
The very top.
Right here. You see this going down? What does it say?
Sell short.
Sell short 100 shares at 217. And then, what did it say right here? Buy what?
100 shares at 155.
155. So I'm buying right there lower than up there. This dotted line shows me how well I did. If it's green, do you think it's a profit or not?
Yeah.
Green means profit, red means loss. So notice in this one, Paul, right, when the computer then said when these cross over, when one, for instance, is green is over there, and I go pink, go ahead and short, it actually did this. And did I make money by it going down? I did. So even though this market for a while has gone down, guess what? We can do well if I have a good model. And then let me show you here, for instance, Paul, this red line, right? Basically, what color is this, Paul?
Pink, I can't really see.
Yeah, pink. And it basically is red, so you think that's making money or losing money just by hearing red?
We're losing.
I'm losing, right? I said buy, so really what should I have done in this case is I probably should have what? Shorted. And in this case it says go ahead and short, and guess what? It went up. In this case, what did it do? It buy at 191, and then when should I have sold? Perfect. So one of the things here, this one I'm going backwards in time. Put this in your notes. Put it in your notes. It's called back testing. What you can do, once I have a strategy, you hear me, Kristen? Once I have a strategy, I don't want to start executing it. I first want to back test it. I want to see how well, had I taken this strategy, how well would I have done? Before we say, hey, let's go for it. Right? We got Noah here with $10 million, right, in the suitcase, right? He's saying, hey, that's nothing for me, that's chump change, right? And he says, guess what, Paul? We're in this group. We got Alex already. He's computer science. What's your major, Paul?
Finance.
Finance. We get some marketing. Michelle's in marketing. She's going to market our strategies for us, and we're going to make a hit, right? But Paul says, wait a minute, hold on. Alex can program it, but stop. We need to check it, and that's called back testing. Everybody with me? So it's back testing, and there's also something called forward testing. I'm going to do forward in time, and that's where I get into my AI as well, my artificial intelligence. And what I can tell here is I can right-click here on my chart, and you see where it says strategy performance? It says sample crossover, and I want to see the historical in real-time results. So where should I press? Yasmin, where should I go now?
Click historical in real time.
Wow, look at this class. Okay. This one, that sample MA crossover for AAPL, looks like it was winning in all trades, long trades, and short trades. It's black, right? Some of these you can see the max down, total number of trades. What it looks like 25% of my long trades were good, 20% were profitable, and 22. So now what did I tell you I was going to teach you? Have you seen any source code, Paul? Nada, right? Nothing. So let me show you the source code. So now we got to figure out, now once we've seen what's happening, I need to do now, look at the source code. So I am going to Tools, and the source code for this is called NinjaScript. The source code language for NinjaTrader, because it's called Ninja, is a scripting language. It's called NinjaScript. It really is C#. Anybody's play an instrument, you know, like flat, C sharp, it's really called C sharp. It's a version of, anybody hear Java? Anybody hear the word JavaScript? It's basically like JavaScript. The only difference is it has built-in functions or built-in libraries that use the stock market and use these ones. So I'm going to look at a strategy. And what's the name of my strategy that I just did? Sample MA crossover. Right? And I want to see what is the source code, because what you can do is you can take strategies, you can run them, but you can also edit them. So let's say we had a strategy and it was really great for the shorts, but it wasn't really very good for the longs. I could take out that part of my code that it is. So this is source code right here. Does it look like English? Anything where there has these green lines in it with these basically backslashes, those are called comments. Those are for people to read. Right? And then they have some other things. You don't have to worry about that. Once you had any programming, you can see it. There's a sample, there's a strategy. You see the word strategy here. And you remember we had a plot, one was orange, one was green. So basically, everybody knows how to read from left to right. Anybody know how to read from right to left, the language? Anybody? Okay, I do. But anyways, so basically what I like to do here is I like to read this from right to left. And what does this mean? The orange color, right? I'm going to call that SMA fast. So you remember that long line that I had? That was basically that solid, like orange line. That was my fast SMA. And my slow SMA was what color? Green. We read it right there. And then it says, so go ahead and add the fast SMA, add the slow SMA, and calculate on the bar, when the bar closes, what should it be set to, Turner?
True.
True. Remember how we were doing the true or false? And now, this is the logic of the program. This is all there is, and I bet Paul will use you as an example, okay? You're my short person, okay? We have something called, a function called enter long, and what do you think that is? Buy or short? Enter a long position means go ahead and buy it, right? I'm hoping that it's going up, right? Enter short means what? I'm betting it's going down. Remember when we had that pink arrow was going down? Remember when the pink, so it says, if the fast, if it crosses above the slow, what should we do? Buy. If it crosses below, what should we do? Enter short. And let me tell you now, Paul, if I gave you an example and showed you a stock that really was not profitable in the longs, and I'd say go edit the program, what would you do?
Enter short.
Basically, just take your, just like a word processor, right? Like a text editor, and just delete these two lines. Or put some comments here and just comment these out. And then rerun the program. That's source code. How'd I do in 10 minutes? You see the idea? So the idea here is that's good. And there's a job out there, it's called quant programmers. QUANT programmers. Their starting salary, $250K, plus, if your strategies are good, commissions to that. They're giving $250K out beginning salaries because it's not an easy job. but they don't work alone. They work in teams. So they'll have my computer science people, I'll have my finance people, I may have the people that know a certain sector. So if we're just dealing, let's say, with the health sector, I may even have some physicians in that group. If we're dealing with, let's say, maybe just a certain number of stocks, like my FANG stocks. What's FANG?
Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Google.
Right. So if I look at those, and then maybe that's all you're specializing in, right? You've worked with that sector, you know those people, you're an analyst with those. I'll have those people. I'll even have mathematicians. I'll have physics people, and they'll work together as an entire team. It can be globally, right? That's why we were doing the collaboration. They'll work globally together to put that in, and this is source code. So you'll have strategies, and what do you keep on trying to do is to keep on tweaking it, because the markets stay the same every day. It even changes throughout the day, right? Think about Apple. Apple was the darling. Did you see all of a sudden what Apple looks like? It's like, woe is me, right? You remember? All you could do was think Apple was going up. Now all of a sudden, anybody hear about that FaceTime bug, right? All of a sudden you're going to be, somebody's calling you and then they're listening on what you're saying, right? So now all of a sudden we're thinking about, Facebook is doing a little bit better, but Facebook had those problems too with thinking about the ideas of my privacy, right? All of a sudden I don't like it, so people are thinking they're going to go to Instagram. They don't realize who owns Instagram. It's Facebook, right? So all of a sudden I'm not going to deal with them. They're really trying to integrate. Google then is always spying on you, right? How much does Gmail cost? Zero. So what are they doing? Every time I'm doing something, I can have it. So let's do this. So based on this, you can see it. That is what source code. So I wanted to bring that to you for a live here for it. Okay? So let's do this. Let's take a, I hate to do this. Let's try it this time. Let's take, you want a 5-minute break or a 10-minute break? 10. Let's do a 10-minute break. We'll come back at 7:40 and we'll do an exercise for next week on Excel. You know what I mean? So everybody stretch, so forth, and we can do it. Okay? So let's do the 10, let's do like 10 minutes, we'll come back. And then we'll see how this is, whether we should go. And then you can give me feedback if you want to just go straight through. You understand? But I'm just thinking this is a good time to think about it.
It's like you have, you're being mad.
So what happened? Okay, I hear you. So let me try to see your screen sharing. Somehow I'm not in live. I thought I'd live broadcast. Let me try it again. I'm going to shut down and try again. Let me see. Off air. Hi. Off air. Let me see. Somehow it got screwed up. Isn't this funny? It's weird, huh? So somebody's lying. Okay, so let me just see here. I'm going to shut down and then try again, okay? I may have to do another one. What?
What? Come along.
Did you call them?
Yeah, I'm in the group too.
Yeah, but did you call Blackboard?
Should we call for the Blackboard?
No, but they have a number. Call now. You have your phone.
Yeah.
Call now with Blackboard. Tell them to put you in.
Okay,
Okay, if there's
What?
somebody, or you can get somebody in the class to put you in.
yeah, I tried with him.
Yeah, I don't know how to put it in. I don't know.
Well, okay, I'll show you now, real quick.
Okay,
Awesome, thank you.
So where do you go, so you needed to be in the audit area, right?
Yeah,
So I go to, you're in the audit area, right?
Yeah, I'm in it, yeah.
Okay, so where is it? It's BTE, audit, KX. And where do you think you need? You're in user, so where do you think you're gonna go? Users and groups.
Oh,
Right.
I hate users and it was just add
And
users.
then,
Is that easy?
Everything's easy when you know it, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it says what? It basically, here's users,
Okay,
find
cool.
users, no, this is find users to enroll, right? And then
Yeah.
you're gonna go for, you're gonna browse and find them, and then you're gonna make them, do it now, do it now,
All right, thank you.
right now,
Let's do it. Give me a laptop.
With your laptop maybe?
okay? So give me feedback whether you wanna do these, you know,
So,
like, is it better to do like these breaks or just keep on going, you know? We'll try it out.
yeah, just one second. Okay, no, that didn't work.
Paul, you wanna do me a favor, help those guys next to you to enroll themselves to use it, we wanna help each other. So see what they can do. Okay, so let me do this, start hangouts on.
We should have got one.
So you're a finance major? What, is this your sophomore year?
Junior.
Yeah, I can see.
Are you
I'm a junior as well.
junior?
Yeah. Very hard, yeah.
I'm joining.
Yeah, we can.
Let's go with
Did you get it?
we're looking right now for the user.
What's my name? Oh my god.
It's like, oh, no, that's it. It's not that, but it's like something like
Yeah.
that. Is that
yeah.
it?
No, it's something like
Something
that.
like that?
Yeah. Alright.
Yes, there you go.
Just let me do it.
Almost close.
Yeah, but it was ready with E, but my like real name is wrong. And then no, you sure spell.
So you username on the thing?
Oh, maybe yeah, maybe I think it's in. Yeah, maybe I don't use it.
Try the,
That
is it 3 numbers or just 2?
too. Okay, Paul.
Oh,
yeah,
oh,
I
wait,
did.
wait, wait, users.
Oh.
That's what users.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Paul, we don't need it.
It's right.
Honestly, you don't even know how.
That's a dope scene. Wait,
Yeah, right?
there's
It's
some
super
edit
easy.
here.
Oh,
Wait,
yeah,
we
the
gotta
first
change your
one.
role though.
Okay. Okay, yeah, okay, no, so go to, no, she,
Slide role to the role.
oh yeah, there, edit.
Oh,
Yeah.
change, hold on, change the role.
Oh yeah,
Assistant.
okay.
You're in.
Thank you.
Did you get it?
We're good.
So everything's easy when you said, did you get everybody in there?
We got everyone in,
Everybody's
yeah.
email?
We're all set now. Thank you.
Everything's easy when you know it.
Yeah.
So you need to reach out to everybody to help you. Okay. Yeah.
Did you do it?
Yeah, it's common for, once you learn any of them, it's easier to pick up on it. But Python is quite a bit. It's popular now, you know, later on it'll be something else, you know what I mean? But right now, it's popular for, but once you learn one of these, you do some, you know, you can see some of these, and once you have these, there can be other ones coming out. The whole idea is that you understand. But it's important for you to have, even if you're not gonna be a programmer, just to communicate with programmers. You know what I mean? And being a team, no matter what you're doing, you say, hey, I wanna hire some people. Whatever you want to be able, sort of like you're saying, I don't know, I don't know. You know what I mean? At least to have the basics, you know what I mean? You wanna have somebody really.
I'm really.
Okay, so let's do this. Copy this.
Cisco? Or you?
We are copying.
Why is Kristen not going in?
Share.
But like,
Now,
yeah.
I
didn't know
am
this.
going to.
I'm so mad at her.
turn this on.
I don't know, I went on.
Start my
She told me just did a date with her. She was trying on.
Yeah, I went on a date with her and Kate was
Cycle.
yeah. Cause like my roommate had friends.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun. She's like obsessed with it.
Really?
So like I felt
What do
like
you
a
with
bitch,
the
but like
show
on
me
a
though?
date, I was like, yeah,
That's gonna be
When
your
was that?
favorite.
we had our first round. And then like, it's a reach out.
Well, no, I know.
No.
So,
We get
Oh,
paired with
no.
3 girls together.
yeah, like we get our 3 girls and like we use the text.
No,
message.
I was
really?
gonna
It's
say.
so awkward because I'm like,
That's weird.
I mean, that would.
It's awkward.
and then this like you know, Jen
She's on my phone.
Are you kidding? She's in June.
Is your like thing not next week, the week after?
Yeah, it's like
Downtown
downtown.
City, I think it?
Yeah.
Oh, same
Come
time.
back.
I think like the
Your mother's gonna be that's funny.
When do you guys have like
Yeah,
the
they think it's after the second. This is after the first one. Like, I don't know, they're playing like.
Because then you're probably the week after.
2 minutes, 5 minutes after. Doesn't matter.
We have like
Initiation and then like the shadow reveal on the day after.
Oh, you're kind of a bit early. Wait, but it's not
Kind of
annoying.
annoying because like.
Or okay, she's dead.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's either Kelly or
Are they good this year?
I
Or are
went
they
to
in
like their for like a Christmas party and then a complete flashback and I was like just in the house.
oh my god.
I went outside.
I was like, I'm the worst person.
You're like
Tired,
the
girl.
most-
I literally don't know.
Now, N-O-W.
Wait, I missed something this year.
Yeah, you want to dial it.
Oh, wait, yeah, wait.
N-O-W. A-I.
Oh shit, yeah, so ours is a week before, yeah.
Get your phone back.
It's normally the same thing.
It is so late with everything.
Now,
We had a whole
N-O-W.
I
Oh, you did it? Now you're open. Open.
I haven't heard yet.
Orange?
Yeah, it's good. Thanks. I know, no one likes it much right yet.
Thanks. We're now, check, Steam at the Saco, we have a new link. Yes, on the top. On the, yeah. See it? Okay, fine. Thanks. Okay. Thanks. All right, now, okay, folks. everybody take a break, so you can let me know afterwards if you want a break or not. Okay, if this fits for everyone. It may be, so we may start to do that. Okay, so what I want to do now is, any questions on what source code is? Everybody got it? Trudy? It makes more sense now when you see it, that we can do this. So now we think about the idea. Let me go back to where we were before. And for next week, what was some of the homework you had to do? Was to do the quiz. What chapter quiz did you have to do? 5. And 5 is talking about what? Data and knowledge management that you'll do. We'll go into it more. I just want to show you a bit. We'll talk about that more. Let me just go to the slideshow. Is we talk about how we're going to manage my data, what's a database approach, what's big data. We'll talk about data warehouses and data marts, everything data that you could ever do. And really, if I think about what future trends are and the whole idea why AI is becoming so prevalent, something called machine learning is so prevalent, is because it's so easy now to get our data. We can get our data from our websites, we can get our data from e-commerce, we can get our data about a number of things, and one of the things that we have is we'll talk about how do you manage the data and how do you forecast the data. We can get it from internal sources, external sources, and I'll talk about more in later about this. We'll talk also about data. We'll then start talking about blockchain, data files. We talked already about bits and bytes. And a field, basically, if I look at it, we know a bit is either just on or off. We can think about a byte as just a character. And we can think about a field is one of the column headings in a spreadsheet. So if I think about a field, it could be what? When we pass around the roll, it's first name, last name, right, phone, email, upload, yes, no. Those are all fields. We know it already. It's just funny words that we use, right, Kristen? So basically they're trying to impress us. We really know what a field is. And then what a data file is, or a table, we can do equivalency of a table, could be like a spreadsheet. And then a database is a collection of those tables. Now, we're not going to go through these terms, but big data and defining big data is big data where we think about trying to make forecasts about my data, trying to predict in the future what will happen with large amounts of data. And then they talk about 2 descriptions of big data. They either talk about it's diverse, high volume, high velocity, decision making, insight discovery, and process optimization. That's from Gartner. You have these slides, you don't have to copy them, right? And then they say that includes structured, unstructured, or semi-structured data. They talk about it can be captured, processed, transformed. They give us all these definitions. And what do I say to you? All these words are good for you to know, and you have to be articulate, right? But what's important is how am I going to use it? And I'm telling you, just like we did with that automating trading systems, well, what's better to think about big data? Let's use an example. What's better in big data is let's think about the stock market. Do we have enough data in there, Stone? Plenty, right? I can do daily. I can do what? I can do tick by tick. I can basically do 5 minutes. I can do 20 minutes, I can do months, I can do years. There's no better example of data, big data, than using the stock market. So let's do an exercise with big data. Everybody have Excel on their machines. I'm going to go through an Excel exercise to think about big data. And what I want with the big data is, what do I want to do? Is I want to not only, when we looked at before, back test my strategy to know how it did over time, right, Paul? That I went backwards in time. But really, what do we want to know? Apple, we see, was going up a little bit. What we really are concerned about, what's it going to do tomorrow, right? What's it going to do next week? That's really what we're concerned. Because to look back here, even I could tell you back there, hey, when it was going down, I could say now, back testing, I said, we should buy right here. And then what should we be doing is we should, you know, when it's going down, then short, and then get out when it's at the low part. That's no big brain thing. But what's hard to do is when you ask any of these people on their strategies, is now what am I going to do tomorrow? What am I going to, and they usually say, well, I don't know. But at least we want to be able to lower our bets and to see how well our model does. So basically what Sarah threw out there was the AI. You say, what is AI anyways? Basically what AI is basically testing the model and seeing how accurate it is. And those differences, basically, based on those differences, we want to improve what? We want to minimize our error. You understand that, Stone? So what I really want to do is once my model gets, I know, am I going to be 100% correct? Of course not. Right? But what do I want to do? I want to get more and more correct, and I want to minimize my error. That's what I want to do. So, what you're going to be doing is you're going to have this assignment for next week. I have two places where I put it. Oh, now I'm hearing myself again. Isn't that great? Okay, let me find myself here to shut myself off. Right? Never love it so much. Okay, so what I want now, I'm going to screen share. Right, I'm screen sharing so I can get that. Now what I want to do is I want to go to my Blackboard. And we now know how to add, right? We know how to add users.
Right.
Good, excellent. Everything is easy when you know it, remember that. Now that you know it, it's like no big deal, no big shakes. Okay, so I have a couple of things here that I can show you. In my regular, go to your regular course document, your regular Blackboard. And in your regular Blackboard, under BTEKX, if you go to course documents, you'll see something that says XLS X forecast. Everybody see that? Everybody see that in your regular section, XLS X forecast. And you have a number of samples there that I gave you of look-ahead forecast. And then if I download this, what happens? I have a slide there. And then, if you go back to your Blackboard, and let's go to the audit area, KX, and I have in the KX, I have course documents. I'm group 0. You remember I'm in with everybody's group, but I have my own group. I have FinTech, I have XLS, X, and I have that first one. Let me download this. And let's see what I get here. And if I open it, let's see what happens. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Okay. I need to get data. I want to forecast what's gonna happen. You remember we saw it in the next week, where are we meeting next week? School of Business 204, and then we're gonna try to do the, the Ninja Trader, we'll see how that works. We'll actually sit in front of the computers there, we'll see how it works, and you can give me feedback whether you want class over there or you want class here. We got choices, so we'll see which one's better. Or we'll switch back and forth. So those people in your group that were not here, let them know. Anyone have a class in this building right before this? Anyone? No. So we'll have somebody put a note up. Okay. So where can I get data? What I want to do is I want to get data. I want to get data. Where can I get data? I want to get stock market data. Yes, Paul.
Bloomberg, but
Bloomberg. We don't have Bloomberg.
Yahoo Finance.
What?
Yahoo.
Yeah, we can go to Yahoo Finance and get it. We can go to Bloomberg, but let's go to Yahoo Finance. So let's do this. Let's open up a sheet. So let's open up, I'm gonna add a sheet here. Let me enable editing, you always want to enable editing. So let me open up a sheet, I have a sheet here. So I'm gonna go to Yahoo Finance. So we can take notes here, so the first thing we wanna do is, we can go to Yahoo Finance. Everybody with me? And help your neighbors. So Nikki, get to Yahoo Finance, and what I want you to do, one of the things that I told you about as well, is I wanted you to look at the market sector. You remember last week, and see what were the sectors that doing it. Did you do that, Alan?
Yes.
And what did you find out?
I did the healthcare industry,
Mm-hmm,
and so I got the top 10
mm-hmm.
that did well.
And what were they, Alan?
Let me just pull it
Who else took Trudy, did you do it? What industry did you choose?
I used like the technology sector.
The technology sector, and what did you find?
The 10 that I found, hold 'em up. So I
And
found-
Yasmin, did you do one?
No.
No, why not?
Wait, one of the fintech articles?
No, we're talking about the market
Oh, the
sector.
stock.
The stock sectors, you're gonna need to do that, so we'll work it out. Saying no is not good. Okay, so what did you find, Trudy?
So I found like a top 10 article. So it had like Amazon.
Amazon, okay.
It had Baidu, which is like the Google of China.
Okay, it's Chinese, okay, good.
Apple,
Apple,
NXP,
okay,
Alibaba, the group holding.
okay, so let's pick one. And then what did you get for healthcare, Alan?
I got the United Health Group,
Okay,
Medtronic,
okay,
Abbott,
Okay.
Express Scripts, Thermo Fisher Scientific.
okay, so we got the ideas. So for next week's assignment, is you pick, let's start with one stock. Pick one of the stocks that you did for your assignment, and if you didn't do the assignment, what was the assignment, Ally?
It was to choose the top 10, find their ticker symbols.
And find their ticker symbols, right? So we'll start with one, and then later on, what do we want for the computer? If we give it our strategy, Alex, what we can do is we can have the computer go out there and scan the universe and find the best ones that fit our strategy. That's part of, Sarah, what we call AI, that the AI starts searching for me for the best stocks for next week. Right? Rather than every night, do you want Trudy at 2 o'clock in the morning every night to go and look at what are the best things to do for tomorrow? You don't want to do that. You want to have fun. Either you're going to be in bed or you're going to have some fun with your friends, not searching for stops. So the things that the computer can do, well, you want it to do. So right now, we're going to do things manually. You understand? In order to teach the computer, we have to know what we want. The computer just doesn't wake up one day and is intelligent, Sarah. It's not saying, oh, I know what you want, and it comes to me in the morning and says, you know what, Dr. Sarah, I know exactly what you want. It doesn't know that, just like Siri, but it learns, just like basically when you say, you know, Siri or any of the other, or Alexa, right? They learn your patterns. It's the same thing of this AI of learning what I want in terms of what's going to be profitable. But before we can have that, we need to do it manually. Everybody with me? Then once we do it manually, then we want to automate it, that every morning it comes up and tells me, number one, these are the ones, if I give it an okay, then I say yes, then it will trade for me. Or I say, hey, wait a minute, I want you to go and read some paper and find out all of a sudden we invaded Venezuela, and all of a sudden it may be news that something's happened with Iran, right? And all of a sudden we've invaded Iran, and maybe something else happened somewhere else in the Mideast. Do you think if all that happened, you think the markets are going to respond the same? No. So now they even have sentiment analysis that they can tell. They can tell on Twitter feeds. They can, Michelle, you're going to be in my social media. You can even go out to social media and find the pulse of what people are thinking about. All that will be incorporated in my models. But right now, I need to make sure that we can do it manually first. Then we'll automate it. So let's start with, just because we did the Apple before, you remember when we did the Apple on this? Let's keep with Apple again. So I'm just going to do it. Later on, you can choose any one that you want. Even now when you're doing it, doesn't matter. You can choose one of your companies. Might as well, you know what I would do? I would choose one of your companies because you're going to have to do anyways for homework, and maybe you'll finish 90% of your homework while you do it with me. So I'm going to do just for the way here, and notice here it's saying it's trending today. Google was trending, right? Apple was trending, right? So I'm going to do Apple just because we did Apple before, right? And in this case, I'm going to search for APPL. I'm going to search, right? And then I got Apple. It did well today, remember? Had we done it, it did 2.84. But the idea is what's it going to do tomorrow. Now, what I'm going to look at and put in your notes, I'm going to look for historical data. Right, Paul? Simple, right? I'm going to do historical data right here. So I'm going to do historical data. And at the time, I want daily, and here's the time frame, right? I can give it, let's say I give it 3 months just for, I'll do small in terms here, 3 months, and then this is a whole year, I don't want a whole year, I want to change this, right? 3 months, right? 11/4, good, so I'll apply. Okay, so I got my data done. Now, I can do it many different ways. I can download my data, or I can copy and paste. Now, when I have my data, I want to have my title too. So let me just go down for a while. So let's see here. What do I want here? In terms here, let's say I want then, I'm just going then to, I'll just download my data. Let's see what happens if I download my data. I download my data, and it says .csv. Everybody see that? And my question to you is, what does .csv mean? Who knows? Paul, what's that? Huh?
Excel file.
No, what's .csv mean? If you don't know, what do you do? Yasmin, you don't sit and look at me.
It's comma separated values.
It's comma separated values, and then the next question is, who cares? What does that mean? It means that I get my data, each field, do you remember what a field is? A field is basically, each of those fields then are going to be separated by some kind of special value, whether it's a comma, or in this case, comma separated value means comma separated value, and Excel can read it. But other programs can read it too. Google Docs can read it, a number of it, and it's in English. So I have it in Excel. So in this case, if I have it in Excel, I then want to see it. I can also, in this case, I can see my Excel. Another way that you can do it is I can just take my data here, and then I can also just copy my data. Let's say I just wanted 30, I can just even copy my data. So let me just copy my data here. I can even do Control C or copy it. I can go into my, I could go into any of my spreadsheets here, and I could go right here, and I could then paste, I could paste them in. I could do a number of different ways here. Let me just cancel it. I could do it a different number of ways in which I could do it. Okay? And in this case, let me just then, I'll don't save, and I can close it. So let me just close this, and let me see here, I have a number of ones. Let me just close some of these spreadsheets here that I have. And I could then set this up. Let me close this, and let me open up my Excel. And let me then just get a new sheet and go back to my, where is mine? And let me go to my Google Chrome. Okay, so in my Google Chrome now I have my data, and I would download my data into my spreadsheet. Questions? Yes, any questions? So now let me go to my Excel. Make sure that I have my Excel. I'll open up my Excel. Let me just open up here. And let me go to my sheet here, protected and enabled. And let me go to my Excel. Okay. So, so I have my data here, and I have my output. Now, what you should do in the beginning of your spreadsheet, let me insert some dates, and let me have, in this case, I'll say, what am I doing? I'm doing Apple. I have my date and my open. Now, I want to highlight the name of my apple, and I want to highlight the areas of my open and the date. Just my open and my date. I want to highlight my open and my date. Everybody with me? Now, one of the things, if you look at it, my dates are with days and dates. It's your date with days. So you want to make sure before you even do that, you want to make sure on your dates, and let me just show you, on your dates, you want to make sure that on your dates, under format cells, you want to make sure that you have date, and it looks something like the day and the month and the date. And the reason I want that is we can see Saturday and Sunday is there's trading in the regular stocks. Usually not. In Forex it is, it isn't. So I can see basically my Saturdays and Sundays. I can see where it is so I can read it a bit more. So make sure your date is set to this. And then say okay. The next thing that I want, my date, is going to be my X. So I'm going to put right on top of that, I'm going to say X equals date. And for my open, I'm going to say Y equals open. I can use even a capital X and Y. And I'm going to highlight my A and B, my columns A and B. I'm going to highlight my columns A and B. And what do I want to do? I want to forecast. Anybody has done regression analysis? Anyone has heard about R squared? What have you heard, Mike, about R squared? What's the value of R squared?
Doesn't it normally track an index?
What is R squared? Anybody tell me what R squared is? R squared has what value, Alex? You know?
Correlation coefficient.
It's a basic correlation. What's its value? From what to what?
1.
0 to 1. Correlation is -1 to +1. Since it's squared, right, it only can be positive. This means 0, little relationship, or my forecast is very weak. 1 means strong. How many times do you think I'm going to get a model that's a 1? Never. But I want to what? Increase it to be higher, and I want to minimize what? My error. So what I want to do at this point is I want to insert a chart. So where do I go to insert a chart? Insert, what a class. So I'm going to insert a chart, and in this case, when I'm going to be looking at my charts, basically what I want to insert then is a line chart. So put that in your notes. I want to go to insert, line chart, And then I want to choose line with markers. Line with markers. I want to insert line chart, line with markers, and this is my apple. And notice why I like the line with markers. You could use anything, but I like it because then I can see my dates this way. If I do other line charts, it squishes it up so much so I see it. And now, once I have my line with charts, I want to highlight one of the markers. You see where my cursor is? I want to highlight one of the markers, and I want to see what the trend is. I'm right-clicking here. I want to see the trend, so what do I add? Turner, what do I add? I want to see a trend. Add trend line. Because I want to see what is what, Paul? The future. I want to see in the future. The back test, of course, I want to make sure that it works for my automated strategy, but I want to do the trend as well. So at that case, I'm going to add my trend lines. Now, I'm going to do 2 trend lines. You can put it in your notes. I'm going to do 2 trend lines. I'm going to do a linear one, which means what? Straight line. Or I want, but does the stock market really go in a straight line? No way, right? Even with this, it was trying, right? No way is it going to be the straight line. But what I wanted to do is I want to format the trend line. I want to do linear, and I'm going to do polynomial. I'll do 2 of them. So put in your notes here, I want to do linear and polynomial. So I'm going to start with the linear, right? And put this in your notes as well. I'm going to start with the linear, and notice here, I want to forecast forward 5 periods. Yes.
So,
I want to forecast 5 periods. So what should I do? Who can help me? Yes, Trudy.
You make it 5.0.
Yeah, so all I have to do is where it says forecast, you're going to put 5 periods. I'm not going to do backward, but that would be like what, Paul? It would be like back testing, right? But in this case, we're not going to do that. And I want to display, put in your notes here, I want to display the equation on the chart. And I want to display the R square on my chart. So at this point, and it's blue, so at this point, I'll make it, in this case, you see here, fill the line here, and I'll make the color, maybe I'll make it even, I'll make it red. Okay, so my linear then is red, forecasting it, and I can even move it here. So this is my linear equation here with my R squared is 0.43, right? And in this case, basically, the forecast trend, Paul, does it look like it's going to be going up or down?
The linear?
The forecast, this is my...
Yeah, it's going up.
Going up. So supposedly, in 5 days, we want to then what? Sarah, we want to then check our models, keep on checking our models automatically and see how much am I different from what it's actually forecasting. And then making the machine then start making the adjustments. Do you see that, Yasmin? So I'm going to be doing that with the linear, but I hope to get a better forecast with the polynomial. So what should I pick next? No. I just did now what? The linear, right? So in this case, what do I want to do? So in this case, what did I say I wanted to do? I wanted to what? Add a trend line, right? What am I going to pick? Add a trend line. Right? I formatted my trend line already. Now what do I want to do? I want to pick what? Polynomial. And at what level of polynomial do I want to pick? Well, I'm getting feedback, huh? I'm going to do then what? 6 order. And how many forward? How many forward? How many periods? 5. And do I want to display the equation on the chart? Yes. Right? And do I want to get my R square on the chart? Yes. So in this case, if I'm going to move this around, right, basically what I'll be able to see is much more complicated, right? I can change the color, right? We have it going, in this case it looks like it's going blue, right? Let's change the color. Let's make it, and maybe in this case, turquoise. We can make a number. The transparencies, we can make it solid line, no lines. We can do a number of different ones. If I, later on, if I didn't lose it, I can just, in this case, I can stop. So let's start again. What do? I do insert. Where do I go? Where do I go? Line chart. And which line? Line with markers. Very good. Now where do I go? I highlight one of these markers, and what should I do? Where should I go now? Add trend line. And now what should I do? I'm in linear right now, right? And how many forward should I go? 5. And do I want to display the equation on the chart? Yes. And do I want to make the R square value on the chart? Yes. I can take that and I can move it anywhere I want. So I can move this, I can make it bigger, I can do whatever I want on this chart. Now, how do I make another one? Add trend line. Go to polynomial. Right? What order? 6 order, right? I go in 6 order. How many forward? 5 is the order. And I want to display the chart. I want to display my R square. Now look at the difference in my R square. This was now 0.70. Is that better or worse than my linear? Paul? 0.7 versus 0.43. What's better? 0.7. And in this case, this looks flat. What does it look here? Much steeper. Is it correct? We don't know until we get the data from the next year. So, what I have, you can see, so you can see the number of those, what I've done before is what you can then do. Let me just go back a bit. You can then, basically what I want is you to do this for next week and compare your residuals and see what the difference is. And then when the days like started off like tomorrow, and then when do we have class? Next what? Monday. Maybe on Friday already or Thursday you can see what we have: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. that on Friday you can see how well did it do. And save the sheet with your name and upload it, and then we'll start training it. And we'll start automating it that it can go out to the internet every day, Allie, and do it for us and bring back the spreadsheet already. And then it can also, this is the beginning, and then we can have our automated trading system hook up to our bank account and then do the trading for us, and then we work and then we start improving the model. I just want you to be exposed to it so you can see how it works. Yes, Brian?
Yeah. So, these instructions is just kind of like, you gotta go.
Well, in terms of what did I give you instructions, let me show you where I gave you, I'll give you instructions.
Okay.
I'll just put it back, right? So it matters.
So, let me go back to my
I can't open yet.
Chrome. So on Blackboard, I've given you a couple of examples. On Blackboard, in the audit section, under my section, if you download this, called XLS Error, and open it, I'll tell you where I want you to go. First of all, you can see in the first one where it says, this was using Brent Curtor. In my group 0, it says Brent, do you know how to download the data from Yahoo?
Yeah.
You download the data from Yahoo, bring it into a spreadsheet. This is more complicated. You don't have to worry about this part, change or open, but basically the step is what? Insert the line, right? Line with markers. I also show you, if you look here, you can see here in the spreadsheet, I give you the same one that you can look at this spreadsheet. I also show you kind of the data that you have in this spreadsheet. This one don't worry about, but that's one that you can just basically, let me go to enable editing, you just can see then the steps that you need to do along that way.
Okay.
So just insert it, and then just, if you look here, you can see here some of the changes on how this was done. But this is percent open, don't worry about this. Because later on, I'll show you, what I'll show you is we violate some assumptions. It's not so simple. So do this of just doing the linear and the polynomial, what order?
6.
6 order. Compare your R squares, what the differences are, and then see, put in back into the model what it did 5 days later, and show was it correct or not, your market. So if the trends were saying it's going to go up, and what we see is the linear said one way maybe, and the polynomial said another way, just make sure that you can do it. And where are we meeting next week, Brian? In the lab, and then your problems that you have, guess what we're going to do? Address those problems. So give it an attempt now, Brian. Work with your group. So one of the things is with this assignment, work with your group. The only thing is, each person in the group pick another stop.
Are we doing the same, like, sector, or like?
You can choose what you want. Your group can do different sectors too. No, let's start with one. Just even do one. You know what I mean? As we get through it, we can do
We download
one.
this
Let's
from
see if we can do one.
What?
Yahoo Downloads.
Yeah, I just,
What? Yeah, go tomorrow to the lab.
you go to your historical data, you just can download it. You just put like here 3 months, and then you here and you get it all.
Okay. You're not seeing
It's, yeah.
Because we got track.
Hmm?
How long is the track for?
Stay with
Yeah,
me,
from
young
here to
person.
Friday. I mean, you're supposed to do this, I think, today, and then see if it's,
No,
I don't
did you
know.
get this?
I didn't really get that.
Right, and then now do show the difference. Get your R squared. Now do the problems of the R squared, and then try it out with a couple. And then on Friday